Welcome back, y'all. Oh man. It's been a year to remember. It's been a couple months to remember. It's been hectic, but we made it out. Everybody that's here is blessed to be here. I'm blessed to be here with my team, you feel me? EF Visions in the background, you already know what it do. Yo, 2020, man, 2020 was one of them years, man. I don't think we had a year like that in a minute since like 2008. We was in the Great Depression, but that changed all of us, you know what I mean? It's from just that, even the New Year's, it got me thinking like, what can we bring into this next year that motivates us, that tells us, yo, we need to get out of bed, we need to make our bed, you know what I mean? We need to be able to sustain some sort of routine that keeps us sustained, that keeps us alive. You know what I mean? I read this quote earlier. It said, the more that you keep good health with your body is the more that you'll be able to manifest your goals. You know what I mean? I really feel like that in hindsight of everything, because you can't think straight, you can't manifest nothing, and it affects everything else down the line. You know what I mean? What motivates you? Like, and in MindStrong, I want us to be able to establish what motivates us. Anytime you hear my voice, anytime you see MindStrong, I want you to think, what's motivating me right now? Why am I sitting at this 9 to 5? Why am I sitting on the couch right now? Why am I scrolling? You know what I mean? Because you're probably seeing me scrolling right now, but what's keeping you here? Or what's not keeping you from doing something that's gonna change your life? You know what I mean? If 2020 wasn't an example for all of us to do better, to want more, I don't know what was. You know what I mean? People was becoming billionaires and people didn't have food to eat. Like, it was such a weird situation. Like, it didn't make sense, but it made sense. In hindsight of, if you was ready, you was ready. If you saw it from a long time ago before it was gonna happen, you was prepared. You had your investments. If you was on a routine already, if you was, you know what I mean? Not to say a routine of getting up, going to work, or getting up, not doing something that you love, but I'm saying like getting up, having a routine of, yes, I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna eat right, I'm gonna read this book, I'm gonna invest, you know what I mean? There's a lot when we say that we want to be better, you know what I mean? And it encompasses a lot. So, can we challenge each other? Like, can we challenge each other to do more in 2021? That sounds so weird to even say, like 2021. I literally remember 2017, 2007, 2017, 2000, like all those years. I was younger at the time, yes, but now I'm motivated. I want to be able to motivate myself, and I thank 2020 for that, because without 2020 I wouldn't have been able to see that everybody's mostly in a rat race right now. If you didn't have the sustainability of your job, you don't have the sustainability of your home. You know what I mean? If you weren't able to go to a vegetable market or a supermarket, you wouldn't be able to get bread or milk or eggs or whatever. So what else do you really need to understand that you have to self-sustain for yourself? You know what I mean? Like, the schools shut down. All the kids, and this is the perfect example. School shut down. Now kids are forced to be home. Kids are forced to have to do online learning. You know what I mean? From certain ages, they're able to go into school and such. But the change was drastic, and it affected a lot. You know what I mean? It affected who we were as a nation, or who we were as people. You know what I mean? And I feel like the more that we're able to understand that for what it is the more that we'll be able to live through it. And for when it comes again, we're not afraid of it. We're not reluctant to it. I don't want to say we're inviting it, but just like if we had to pay, or if you had to pay a $3,000 bill, just something happened, your car did something, your house did something, a pebble fell from space or something like that, and it just decimated your house. You know what I mean? What do we need certain drastic situations with? And COVID was drastic or is still drastic. But what do we need? Personal inflections to change how we look at things. And I'm mostly speaking to like our generation. I'm not saying any generation is out of the learning curve, but it's harder for the last generation or the generation even before that to be able to understand motivating themselves. Because granted, it was taken out of them all throughout their lives, all throughout their teenage lives. They probably didn't have nobody to do that for them. So for us, being this generation and even the next generation, our little brothers, our sisters, is it not prime time? Like, is it not prime time? Like, are we not able to market ourselves to a different degree of prosperity, reputation, respect, like generational wealth? Like that, I feel like it is more on the radar of our generation, but it's not. A lot of us don't know what to do. Like we want certain things. We want to be able to live this life and such, but we don't want to put in the work. More so our generation than the last generation, but the last generation had three things, and I said it in the last season. They had food, clothing, and shelter on their brain. So, you know what I mean? We don't really have that hustle and bustle, you know what I mean? And that's what my own mother would call it, the hustle and bustle of every day. Like, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this, I have to do that. It has to go like this, and it has to go like that. And I understand that. There's nothing wrong with that. But when it takes away from who you are as an individual, I feel like not only do you start to lose yourself, but the people around you aren't really being able to flourish with themselves, because it's a constant, you gotta, the hustle and bustle, basically, constant hustle and bustle, you know what I mean? And we don't have that. We don't need to work a 9 to 5 to figure out how to make 9 to 5 bread or money. Like, we don't need that. We don't need a boss telling us what to do to get where we want to go. Like, and I feel like in hindsight, it was the last generation that built the bridge, whether no matter how crickety or unstable that bridge was, they built that. And now we're able to walk past it or walk on it. You know what I mean? Walk to the other side, build our own bridge. Like, it matters, you know what I mean? It's real easy to fall off your horse and to find an excuse. It's wild easy to find an excuse. And I don't know if it's not a generational thing, because there's 60-year-olds that's still doing the same thing, and there's 14, 20-year-olds that continuously say they want something but don't put in no effort, no work, no brouhaha to get there. Like, it's none of that. You know what I mean? You just say that, oh yeah, I want so and so. Oh yeah, I want to be able to da da da. And I don't know, to people that actually want something out of life, or that actually is going to pursue. Because I'm not saying those people don't want nothing out of life, but I'm saying if you really want something, like F motivation. That's really my quote for myself. F motivation. You either want that shit or you don't. Like, point blank, period. You either want what you're looking for in life or you don't. So at the end of the day, we say, oh, this happened, so now I have to do that in the third, or this, I had life, COVID. That's the new excuse. Oh man, I know at least once or twice somebody that was on the path to doing what they wanted to do had told you, or you've used the excuse. And you feel me? Don't feel away. It's nothing to feel away about, but it's for us to acknowledge what we're doing. You know what I mean? Acknowledge our presentation to the next generation. You know what I mean? Because if we didn't agree with the last generation, why not change that for the next generation? I feel like every generation is responsible for the next 2 generations after it. You know what I mean? So if I'm not thinking about my kids, like, but if I'm not thinking about my kids, then I'm selfish. If I'm not thinking about my kids, I'm selfish. It's something that I wasn't taught. That's keeping me back. You know what I mean? Like, we gotta be able to establish that from young. from now. You know what I mean? Because I know if you clicked on MindStrong, you clicked on any motivational podcast, YouTube channel, anything, any of the most motivational videos, I know that you're trying to find a way, and you're trying to go and get back on your horse, and you're trying to, you may be on it right now. Kudos to you. But the earlier you start to get on that horse and gallop into the sunset, is the easier it'll be. I'm speaking to like my preteens and my teen and my pre-adults, like, you know what I mean, young adults. We need more substance for ourselves early instead of nonsense. 2020 changed me personally, physically, mentally, and financially. I had to make a change. I had to do something. Not to say I was in the rat race or doing the normal every day, but certain things weren't guaranteed as I saw it before. Certain things weren't so easy to come by. Like, what you was going to I know all of us experienced it, going to the bank and there's a line at the bank. You're wondering to yourself, why is there a line at the bank? That's just, for me at least, you know what I mean? I'm wondering, alright, damn, like, do I really need my money? Like, you know what I mean? But financially, I had to find the steady, not even the steady incomes, you know what I mean? That will never stop. And no matter if I'm asleep, in another state, another country, it will always continue to sustain itself, because that's just how it runs. Like, there was companies, Amazon, for example, Amazon, Walmart, Target, they made billions during this pandemic. Billions, bro. So for me, now I'm seeing, you see them making billions. Why was people starving for food? Like, what weren't they taught, or what didn't they do in that instance of now a pandemic is happening? How can I get out of this hole? You know what I mean? But already being a part of the hole meant that you got deeper into the hole. Like, so financially, it changed the way I look at money. Like, I used to get money, save, probably spend a little bit. Get money, save, and I'm being honest with y'all. Get money, save, spend some of that shit. Spend that shit. You know what I mean? Like, point blank period. Why? You know what I mean? When that's the rat race mentality. Because my money is losing, I think it's 0.1 to 0.2% interest on each dollar that I keep it saved up in my savings account. So what am I now getting from my savings account? You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna rack up 20 bands, and then it's only gonna be worth 15 bands with inflation and quantity and all of that. Like, it's only gonna be worth less than what I put in there. So what's really going on? What am I really doing? Like, millionaires don't sit on money. Billionaires is a different story. Millionaires don't sit on money. They don't sit on money. Every dollar, every $10,000, they reinvest that to make 1,000 into 10,000, or $1 into $10. You know what I mean? As long as you're making your profit back, that's all they. As long as you're making profit and you're making what you sold for it back, that's like. I say all that to say the financial aspect of what the pandemic did was for my greater good. And I feel like it was for a lot of people's greater good. Physically, I'm not working out now. Do I really want this shit? Like, I'm at my house. I would be at my house. I remember when we was in lockdown, just at my house. I'm just in my house. You talk about working out all day, every day. You talk about going to the park all day. We talk about it. But then have the free time, and I still don't want to do it. So for me now, COVID gave me that wake up call. Like, yo, you in the crib, you playing games, you literally playing games. You know you could be practicing right now. You know you could be getting that money, right? Like, not getting physical money, getting money. Like, working out, going for a run, going to box, going to do some kicking the bag, like something to invigorate your mind so you can see yourself becoming better. F the financials. Because mostly for me, if you're not spiritually wealthy, that money wealth is not going to do nothing for us. So at the end of the day, get your body right. Get your mind right. You know what I mean? Like physically, right now, while we're still in this pandemic, because I feel like it's coming out of the pandemic phase or whatever, but while we're still quote unquote locked down, while it's still like, because in New York you can't have, or there's no indoor dining right now. So while there's no indoor dining, and if you work at Red Lobster, do some push-ups while you at your work. Like you ain't serving nobody. Shoot, you probably don't even got a job right now. Like what you want? Like what you want, cuz? Like and it's not nobody's fault. It's what do we want out of this life? What do we want? So that's just physically. Mentally now, I gotta be at home. Everybody gotta be at home. So now you gotta sit with what was going on at home, how your at home life is, what's going on personally. Like you gotta sit with that now. It's been a couple back and forths in my own house about certain things of how we feel, what we don't like, what we feel towards each other. And honestly, I feel like it was brewing things that we never talked about because we never had the time to, ever. We never had the time to, we never even thought about it. So next day come, hustle and bustle, back to work. Like, you gotta do what you gotta do, you feel me? So when do families or loved ones ever have a time to actually speak to one another? Get off of their chest how they feel towards one another. What's holding that back? Nothing's holding that back now, excuse me. Nothing's holding that back now. Nothing's holding that communication back. Even and I'm guilty of it too, because I wasn't using the accessibility I had to my family. I was looking at it like, oh man, they closed the parks, like they took off the hoops off the park, like off the rims, they took the rims off the backboards in the park. Like what? Like I start thinking about that more than being at home with my family. Do we not want communication from our family? And some of us don't like have a prerogative of something totally different than family, and that's cool. That's all right. But we need a certain level of communication. And I feel like this is the perfect time to communicate, delegate your heartfelt feelings towards someone to that person. Like, or to a group of people, because if not now, when? In coming episodes, I want us to be able to really vibe with each other, be able to talk, and you guys write in the comments about how you feel towards the guests. The presentation in which we're talking about I have a lot of guests that I feel are worthy of your time and worthy of us being able to bring them up on Mindstrong, because they're gonna give you an insight into even their journey, how they became who they are today, how they made a successful business or made a successful program that gets people off the streets. Like I don't know what you want out of life specifically, but I feel like I can give you, and I will continue to give you, people that you can take examples from. Because I know life doesn't give everybody the same examples as everybody else. But people that you could relate to. Because I ain't normal, you ain't normal, my people's behind the camera ain't normal, and we gotta notice that. We gotta be able to use this as a community and talk to each other. In the coming episodes, it's gonna be lit. That's all I could really say. I can't even give y'all you feel me? You just gotta wait and see, man. And we just gotta wait and see. Season 2 is gonna be a doozy, man. Nah. Being Mindstrong, and I don't want to say being Mindstrong as you're like in our group or something. You are in our group. You're part of the family. You know what I mean? If you clicked on that podcast, or you clicked on that YouTube channel, you're part of the family already. You know what I mean? Point blank, period. But in the sense of what Mindstrong is, Mindstrong creates longevity, better traits, better quality. How can we move in this life if we're not Mindstrong? How can we move as young adults if we don't have understanding of each other, even of ourselves? I feel like 2020 helped us to establish that and understand what we are capable of doing. When you think Mindstrong, when you think COVID, think Mindstrong. When you think you're down, think Mindstrong. Mindstrong is not just mind strong. Think about what Mindstrong means. The phrase of it, Mindstrong, Mindstrong. When you think about Mindstrong, think about COVID. When you think about COVID, think about Mindstrong. When you think about getting off that horse, think about Mindstrong. When you think about stopping your progress, think about Mindstrong. When you don't want to go to the gym, think about Mindstrong. When you want to create that business and think about Mindstrong. Just do it. Do it! Do it! Now, in the face of adversity, I always want you to think, what can I do better? What am I getting from this? What can I change to never even probably have to go through it? If your Mindstrong mentality is right, everything else will fall in place. Nothing can stop you in your path to greatness. You are the conductor of your own train, your own ship. Embrace 2020. Embrace whatever loss, whatever it is. Release it. Release it and embrace it for what you learned from it. And if I could go back 15 years into the past, I would tell my younger self to not be so quick to choose a path. Because I felt like we all felt like we had to be someone else. So I would just tell myself, don't allow other people's thinking or ideas or mentality to ruin who you are and what you can do as a person. All you really need is your own love, the love of yourself, and everything else will fall into place. I'm gonna wrap it up with a quote. It's a quote from Kobe Bryant, the late great Kobe Bryant. No L is a loss. Every L is only a lesson. No L is a loss. Every L is only a lesson. What lesson it is, I can't tell you. I don't really know. Whatever you going through, let it be a lesson for you next time. Because as long as you still breathing, and as long as you got food on your table and clothes on your back, like, you blessed. You know what I mean? You blessed. And acknowledge that. We back, ready for this season, and I hope you will be rocking with us for years and years to come. Guests that will be coming on, you'll see what's in the back. You know what I mean? You'll see what's in the back. But yes, that's it for this episode. See y'all next week. Love y'all.